Cool. It says we're live. Yeah, so it says we're live, so it's recording. Perfect. I'm actually really excited. We have an amazing person here. And what we're going to do is I'll let you introduce yourself, Freda. And today, just so everyone knows, we're going to have really a client experience or a coaching experience spotlight. And so Frida experienced a coaching session with me, and there's been so many amazing experiences from that. And she's going to share her experience with the coaching and the results of some of that work. And so we're going to dive in here for a short period of time. Frida, I'll let you introduce yourself and what you do and all that fun stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, my name is Freda, and I work independently with clients, and I support them in, I guess I got two skill sets. I can either go the operations route or the sales route. At the moment, I'm inside of the sales route right now. But yeah, so that is what I do. Take calls for high ticket coaching programs.
Cool. I love it. Um, and so essentially, you and I crossed paths years ago, and then we were reconnected. And so part of that was essentially part of what you had shared was that you've been through so many different programs. There's so many different strategies, and you did experience some wonderful results, but it sounded like there were an element where you knew there was a higher level for you in what you wanted to be doing and who you wanted to be aligned with. And so when we connected, you were in the midst of a transition and are still exploring. We'll get into so many amazing things here. Could you share a little bit about what it was like for you to just kind of come to a session, what the session was, I guess, like for you? Because I think we all have had different coaches. And so I think it'll be
hmm
nice for people to hear just, sort of what you felt like you were coming in with and then what you received in that coaching.
Yeah, so what I was coming in with was just sort of like masterminding and getting some strategies around some of the, I just let go. I just, transitioned from working with two of my clients that I didn't feel we were in alignment anymore. And so it was, a little bit of masterminding around like what could be next, what would that look like. I was also having a conversation with a potential client, and then, um, some you had some really useful advice around how to actually have that conversation, right? And then inside of that, what I wasn't expecting is that, yeah, so we were talking about the strategies, and you're like, yeah, we could do this, we could do that, which you provided, which was amazing. However, I think the thing that really blew for me, that really blew me away, that was, very unique. It was like, yeah, there was the tactics, and I had some fears there that you were able to really talk to that part of me that was afraid, and really allow that part of me to be okay, like showing up in whatever way. And I think that was very different and great for me. It was a really good experience.
Yeah, I really love the way that you really highlight that, because I think oftentimes as entrepreneurs and business owners, the inclination is to kind of look for the next tactic or the next strategy. And so
hmm
sometimes that's what we enter with. And, a lot of times when I work with people, that is a common thing. They've been through so many different experiences that there's a whole like treasure chest of strategies and tactics. And so I think that's beautiful, right? And there has to be a balance, right? Because sometimes someone could say, oh, I just want the tactics or I just want the strategies. But you were actually really open to sharing, like, hey, here's the things that I know to do. I appreciate the recommendations that you're giving here. And, I feel like this is the key part you shared. And here's what comes up for me when it comes to implementing these, or even at the thought of doing this, here's the different thoughts that come up. And I consider we have like all these parts of ourselves. And so for you, right, you use the word fear here, right? That there were some areas where maybe you were feeling fear, or some different things, which I think a distinction that's really powerful is, even though you may have felt fear in the past, you probably did those actions, but when that's like lingering and staying there, um, it kind of makes us not want to do it or not want to continue it. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, from my experience and from what you shared during your session, we were really able to get to a core element of that fear for you, and really just letting that part of you know, you know, whether it was like, you know, I kind of picture it like a young little version of yourself, right? That you're like
Mm-hmm.
bringing some love to, that, you know, for whatever reason, you know, when we're younger and we're fearful or we're afraid we're going to make a mistake, you actually went through a process and developed the skills to connect with that part of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you, just to, one, I know you said you weren't expecting it. What was it like to actually go through that? Because I know people may be listening and they're like, what's this? What are they talking about? A part of myself, or, you know, and so if you could share, what was it like for you, this idea of even connecting with a part of yourself that might have been feeling that fear?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I believe that, you know, there's a rational adult part of me, and then there's like, you know, as you mentioned, like there's a little girl who was afraid and who sort of puts the brakes on.
Mhm,
So I guess what I would say for anyone who's like, oh, it's a part of me, is like I would say I would describe the part of you that wants to put the brakes on is almost like a present. I would describe her for myself as like an identity, like she has the way she sees the world.
mhm,
And so it's sort of like, you know, speaking to her and being like, "Hey, you know, I know you're putting the brakes on right now, but it's and also finding out like, why are you putting
yeah,
on the brakes on right now?" And that can be a very quick process. You know, it doesn't have to be, I would say, like a chapter and verse sort of situation. Um, but I think one of the gifts there, and the thing that you do really well, is create the space that that little part can, you know, come forward and be the one who is like, okay, this is the little girl is now speaking. Now you're speaking to that specific part. You know,
mhm.
I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, yeah, I think it did. And you know, I think that's really helpful, right? Like the, you know, in terms of your experience, right? Like the vision of, you know, that little girl, or that part of yourself, and to help, you know, others sort of wrap their head around it. If we think of it, we form like patterns during all different parts of our lives when we're growing up, and so sometimes it's a pattern, you know, that formed when we were little, and so the relationship with it or the experience of it is almost like it's that age or that child or that version of ourself kind of running the show in some regards. And so when we're checking in like you experience, it's actually that connection to actually see what's going on there. Because I think in, you know, my experience in a lot of different coaching programs, and you know, I think people, the term people use is like the bro marketing or whatever it is. People are like, just do it, just, you know, negate the
Mm-hmm.
feeling and get over it. And um, that can work for like a short-term win, but it's not actually sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you know, it sounds like from your experience, I know um, you know, we really had that breakthrough, you know, experience a few weeks ago or so, and it's actually maintained. It's like actually helped you continue to keep your momentum in a way that you hadn't
Mm-hmm.
before. Could you share a little bit about, you know, just what's shifted for you since?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things is that like my consistency, right? So consistently showing up even though I'm uncomfortable, like it would have been like too overwhelming before. And then, you know, it just too uncomfortable in the body. And I didn't realize this was happening. This is a very recent in my awareness. Whereas since then, now I just feel like things will be okay, you know? So and that was a big That has is a big contributor to that. And what that has meant is, it's about the 20th of April now, give or take a couple of days, and I am having the most productive month that I've had, and it's not like I'm working like a lot, you
Mhm.
know. Um, it just feels more chill. It's more relaxed, which is really nice, which just helps with, yeah, doing stuff every day 'cause it's just chill.
Yeah, yeah, which, I think for a lot of people, especially as business owners, it can feel very foreign or like very, very different. Because, oftentimes, whether it's growing up or just the old pattern, it's like the idea is that, oh, let's put this like pressure on ourselves to try and get ourselves going. And it it's almost like, yeah, it's very different when we don't feel like we need our mind racing or we have to be doing all this extra stuff. We're actually able to just kind of have like a clear mind and focus
Mhm,
and have that consistency and have that trust, like that you're going to be okay, right? Because that's what makes it possible to try new things, to get into conversations.
mhm,
Um, and that, when you do have free time, it's not taken up by, oh, I need to be doing this and that, and this could go wrong. You actually get to experience the mental and emotional freedom from that. um, and so for you, it sounds like, I know before we hopped on, you said there's things that you've been saying yes to that in the past maybe felt like more of a challenge, but you've actually stepped into more of what you've been wanting to
mhm.
create. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I would say the biggest thing I've been doing is I've been asking for what I want.
Mm,
Just asking, afraid, and like just doing that. And what has ended up happening is when I first spoke to you and we had the session, I moved away from working with my clients at the time. I had zero clients then, which was something that I haven't experienced for a long time.
yep.
Um, and then now I have two, and all of that just happened very quickly. So that's been really great, and I think not just bringing clients in, but I also believe bringing aligned clients in, clients that I would go over and above to to deliver results for them, because I really appreciate them. They really appreciate me. They tell me all the time they do. Their actions are aligned with that, and that's been really really cool to experience.
Yeah. And I love I love how you're sharing the journey, right? From, having the zero clients during that time to going to the two. And part of our work, I believe, was also, in terms of asking for what you want. Because I think sometimes when people think of coaching, they picture people with programs and they have like a million clients in it. And, I always like to reiterate the message, right? Like asking for what you want means that you aren't going to have to like overextend yourself or like max yourself out with a million clients. Like you can have I think you say champagne clients. I think sometimes people say like premium clients, right?
Hmm.
That you can have like those amazing clients and really be dedicated to creating an awesome experience with them. And so the fact that so much has transformed in such like a short period of time, I think is really special. And it's all your like focus and diligence and past experience that has brought you to that
Hmm.
moment. What's it been like just to, having best, your best month with the most aligned clients? How does it feel different compared to, maybe how things were operating in the past?
Yeah, so I would say there was a lot of there was a lot of fear. So just a lot of like, if I do this, then what will happen? Or think just not trusting,
Hmm.
not just trusting that everything will be okay. And oh, sorry, I lost you for a second. The biggest thing with like the trust thing was, more than anything, was trusting myself. into action, so that I know that um I'm taking the actions, I'm doing what I need to, and so moving away from like more of the procrastination piece. So
Yeah.
that's been great. That
Yeah.
that was before.
Yeah. I love that. And, um, it cut out for a brief moment, so I want to make sure I capture it. It sounds like before there was an element of the fear and the procrastination, and what you're experiencing now is almost that freedom for that consistency and that focus that's actually helped you be more productive, and say yes to the things that you really want to be saying yes to instead of what you think you have to be doing. Did I get that right?
Yeah, for sure. And also just being like now that I feel like I'm showing up more powerfully for myself, that I can work with, some of my clients are absolutely amazing. Like some of them are, like one of them is a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, has thousands of people in their membership, and stuff. So at that sort of caliber of client, also has a certain level of expectation. So now I'm so confident that, I can deliver, I can show up and show up powerfully, and that's great. It's given me more choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, when I share this interview again, I feel like I want to write that, right? Like help sharing up powerfully, right? Because that's what helps you attract even more powerful people, which is
Mm.
which is what you've done. Um, I love it. I feel like we've gone through like an amazing overview. Are you open to sharing? Yeah, if someone's interested in speaking with you or anything like that, is there a good place for them to reach out to you? Yeah,
Yeah, Facebook is usually the best place. Just
cool.
Frida Kochala. I didn't put my surname on here, but that is where that's like the best place to find me for sure.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Anything before we go here? Anything else you'd like to share?
I mean, I would just say, thank you for the space that you created. It was so beautiful. I know you introduced you to one of my friends already, and she also really loved talking to you and getting to know you. So, yeah, thank you so much for the work that you do. It's very special. So, thank you.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you so much for, taking the time to come on here and share with everybody. And
Mhm.
yeah, really appreciate you.
Of course, I appreciate you too. All right, James, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye.